journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel day like you. Rara, rara. I say nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that hello. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check hello. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. My lady, you know me, no forgive up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go, now forward and far, backward never. Them they pray, make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know.
Alright, there we go, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We're back on the Hohner YouTube channel for another episode of the Hohner Live interview series. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Say hi in the chat. Let us know from where you're tuning in. That's always interesting. We got a fantastic week of Harmonica live streams ahead. We got another Hohner Live tomorrow, and we got a Harmonica challenge going down on Sunday. Dorian Harmonica challenge. So, yeah. Maybe we can also dive into that topic real quick with today's guest. This is the first time we're talking to each other, which is amazing. And we're talking to two true musicians. Musician today, guitarist and harmonica player, Nashville-based and a long-time collaborator of legends like Chad Atkins. Welcome to the Hohner Live. It's great to have you here, Pat Bergeson.
Well, great to be here, Konstantin. Great to see you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, I've known about you and your playing for a long time. Because back when I started playing, I think you were... I mean, I'm not sure if you still are, but you were like a Seidel endorsee, playing Seidel harmonicas.
Oh, yeah, I still endorse Seidel harmonicas.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think I just like saw you on that list, and of course back then I checked out your music. So.
Oh, okay, great.
So that's how I kind of discovered you and your playing.
Okay. What of my music did you hear when you checked it out? Did you hear the couple of records I did? And,
no, it was more like YouTube videos.
Oh, okay, got it.
When I started out, it was like YouTube was just starting out in terms of people putting up harmonica tutorials and stuff, you know? Yeah. And I think back then, it was also more common for people to take videos of concerts and put them up themselves.
Okay.
So like every single time, for example, like Jason Ritchie played a gig and somebody filmed it with their crappy phone. Like I checked it out and looked up like the most recent videos, and there was like one lick I couldn't play. I just practiced until I could, sort of.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Even if it was like the worst recording ever, you know.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, whatever it takes. Yeah, and he's a fantastic, fantastic player. I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, that's cool, man.
But yeah, for people who know like different sides of your work, guitar, harmonica, sessions, and all the different genres, like how would you describe yourself musically to the audience nowadays?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I definitely am a jazz musician, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely very, very much into that. And I play jazz gigs, all over the country and all over the world, and in Nashville, and and I also play, also play rock and roll. I play guitar in Peter Frampton's band, in his touring band. So I, go out on the road with him, and I've been doing that the past couple of years. And then I play country music. I was in Chet Atkins's band and toured with him and Jerry Reed and all kinds of other country artists, and I've played with Tommy Emmanuel and toured a little bit with him, and
Oh yeah, I saw
he's
some of
like,
those videos too.
yeah, so and it's kind of I guess you could say I'm kind of eclectic, because I play and then I play harmonica, and I'm always working on jazz stuff. But I'm also doing quite a few sessions in session work. All people send me files and I record on people's records, and then I do recording sessions here in Nashville quite often on harmonica.
Yeah.
So I'm very busy doing that, and most of that stuff that I do here in Nashville. Occasionally, people will ask me to play jazz. Like they'll give me some chord changes that are like more jazz oriented, and have me play over the chord changes and do all that. And then I do a lot of stuff that's country music. Simple
Yeah.
parts and just melodies and that kind of thing. Whatever the gig calls for. I find it all to be a challenge. It's hard to be good at just one style, and then to try and do several different things. It's challenging, but I love that challenge, and so I do that all the time, and then I play guitar. So I'm you know I would say my style on guitar is more like rock, blues, jazz, you know, but very
Okay.
much so, yeah, those three things mostly. And, country music also. I do a lot of session work. I do a lot of session work in country music too on guitar. But it's more like I get called to do more things that are like, playing acoustic rhythm guitar and playing parts on the electric guitar and doing like stuff that's a little more left of the chicken picking thing. There's guys in Nashville that are better at that than I am, than and I could fake my way through that, but there's guys who are better at that than me, But I'm kind of, I guess you could say I'm an eclectic musician in that way.
Yeah, and that whole versatility, like, was that intentional or necessary, or did it just happen naturally?
That's a good question. I think partly it's a necessity in terms of making a living as a musician. It's good to have your hands in a lot of different things and to be able to, convincingly wear a different hat. I'm going to take my
Yeah.
jazz hat off and I'm going to put my rock and roll hat on, and to sound like, you know, convincing and authentic in those different styles. I think I've been pretty, successful in doing that. And but so partly it's necessity, to make a living, but also I love so much different kinds of music that I want to you want to learn about it, right? And I think you're probably the same kind of person, right? You like a lot of different styles, so you don't want to just
Yeah.
play blues harmonica. You want to learn how to play jazz, on the harmonica as well, and we get inspired by our heroes like Howard Levy and guys like that who are the masters at that style. And so, and then we hear, guys like you said, like Jason Ricci and there's some great harmonica players here in Nashville. Jelly Roll Johnson and P.T. Gazelle and
Yeah.
Buddy Green and there's so many great harmonica players here too that I've been inspired by, who've been mentors of mine, and So yeah, you want to learn a little bit of everything. But I think it just a lot of it just came naturally too, because I want to learn about these different things, and I'm
Right.
always, you always want to get inspired, right? You always want to like have some inspiration. You may like be playing blues harmonica for quite a while, and you start thinking, well, I need to go somewhere else with this instrument. Right? I need to, like there's guys who don't really do overblows. I mean, there's guys who don't do overblows, and they play incredible
Of
stuff.
course, yeah.
And I mean, yeah, and it's to me, it's like I'm like, oh my God, I hear some guys that are just mind blowing, and they don't really do any overblows, and little Walter and guys like that who started that way, and yeah, it's just it's such a big world. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you started out on drums. Like, when did the harmonica come into play, and do you feel any connection between the two instruments?
Between drums and harmonica.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel a connection between drums and everything. On guitar, absolutely, drums and guitar and harmonica. I mean, rhythm is the. I mean, there's 12 notes. Rhythms are infinite. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
you can do it 12
I mean,
notes
do
too,
you
but
think what
but
most
but I
harmonica
mean,
players out there lack is rhythm?
uh, no, I've never thought that. I've never
Okay.
thought that they lack it. But I mean, I think that anybody who's a musician can benefit a lot from spending a lot of time working on rhythms, and like mentioned, Howard Levy, for instance, just wrote that book called the Rhythms of the Breath, or
Yeah.
sorry, Howard, if I screwed this up. But he's got this book that's
That's
all like
right. Yeah.
based around drum rudiments, and so studying drums like I did when I was younger. I really don't play much anymore. But I did study that. I studied like rhythms and rudiments and paradiddles and all that kind of stuff, and I can see why that's appealing to Howard, because you're learning how to, using your breath to, do this rhythmic stuff, and it can really expand your mind and help you learn a lot more about playing rhythms, and yeah. So I mean, I think, the for me, I really like music that grooves. When a person's playing in the pocket and they're really grooving, with the band, and they have a good, sense of time and all that. That's what makes it really great for me. When you're listening to somebody who plays well in time, it's like a drummer who can't play in time. It's
Yeah.
not great. So anyway, yeah, those two things are very much connected, and the same with guitar. Guitar and harmonica, and it's all kind of one thing. But I started playing harmonica when a friend of mine growing up had a blues harp, Hohner blues harp, and I got one. He could bend, the fourth hole, and I
Yeah.
think maybe he could bend the second hole. And he knew a couple of blues licks. This is when I was about 14 or 15. But I
Okay.
got one before. I got a harmonica before that, and I remember I would just sit there and go, and just hearing the chords, when just breathing in and out, and I just loved the sound of it. And then I would just spend time. At one point, I realized I can play a note really clean and play a melody real clean. When I was probably about 12, 13 years old, we would go Christmas caroling.
Yeah.
At Christmas time, we'd go out in freezing cold weather up in Chicago area and go people's houses and sing Christmas carols. And I would always bring in the harmonica, and I could go, and play a very clean melody. And then at some point, I realized, well, wow, I can just do the note, but what if I try to do something with it where I'm being more expressive? Like realized right instantly off the bat that if I go like, I saw somebody do that with their hand,
Yeah.
and I would use the hand thing, and then I would try to play a melody and be, expressive with it using dynamics and with my breath and everything like that. And I was doing this when I was 12, 13 years old. I would play, I would try to play a melody just very legato and, try to figure out all the different ways I could play a melody. And at that time, I was playing in band in the public school band program in Batavia, Illinois. So I was hearing, symphonic music and concert music, all the time. And I was playing in
Oh, yeah.
in the orchestra, and in the percussion section. And I was also going to music camps in the summer down at University of Illinois. And so I was getting to play with the good orchestras down there of all students from all around Illinois. And, so I really got a lot of musical experience in high school. Plus, I
So,
was
like, did
playing in
you
a
ever
rock.
get to play harmonica in those scenarios?
Um, I don't remember. I don't really think I did very much. I might have a little bit, but not really. I was playing guitar. By that time, I was playing all through high school. I was playing drums and guitar, and so I was in a rock band in high school, and I was playing guitar with that band. And when I was about 12 or 13, my brother got a Fender Stratocaster, and so I started playing his guitar, and I just got obsessed with it. So I was doing both, and and then. And then and after high school, I went to college, and then I really, really got way serious into jazz guitar, by then.
Right.
And I started to really study it, and, and I was practicing 8 hours a day, every day, pretty much all for from, the time I was, well, that's what I did in high school too. When I get home from school, all I want to do is play the guitar and the drums. So, yeah, so I was just always involved in it since I was a kid. But the harmonica didn't really happen until I was about 25 or 26 years old. I was playing a gig in Michigan, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, with some local musicians there, and Randy Marsh, the drummer from Grand Rapids, fantastic jazz musician, also played harmonica. And he got up on the last song of the night and played Red Top on the blues Red Top, and I was so blown away by it. And also, I always thought somewhere back in my mind, wow, wouldn't that be amazing if you could play jazz on a regular harmonica without the button? And I heard Randy Marsh do that, and I was like, wow. And I think the next day he flew to New Jersey, where I was living at the time. I lived in New York City through the 1980s. He flew to New Jersey and was staying with us for a bit, and he gave me the harmonica he was playing. It was a Wang Star Performer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, here, just practice it. He said, learn how to do like the tongue blocking, and he's mainly a tongue blocker. So I was doing that for a while, but I pretty much, stuck with the pucker technique, and so I just practiced it constantly. And when I was living in New York, I was driving around in my car everywhere. Every day I was in my car for 2-3 hours probably, and so driving to gigs and rehearsals and all over the place. And so I would just practice every time I got in the car, and I still do that today. And that's really where I've done most of my practicing. And so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, probably like you and every other harmonica player, But anyway, yeah. So,
I mean, there's a question in the chat. There's Jerry Fierro there, and
hey, Jerry.
yeah, he's
Hey,
asking
knock
about
it off, Jerry.
practice routines. I mean, you talked about practicing guitar and drums for 8 hours. Like, how about harmonica? Did you ever get into a routine with that?
I, that is another question that's I answer from like driving in the car. So like for instance, I drive up to Chicago. It's an 8-hour drive from here, about 8 hours to where my family lives. Between here and there, I'll practice, 6 hours of that time in the car, or 5 hours, whatever, or
Yeah.
sometimes the whole way there and back, right? And so when I'm in the car, riding on the interstate, I've got a C diatonic. So, I'll practice in the key of C, I'll practice in the, cross harp. And then, I might spend, some time playing in the key of D, minor and major.
Yeah.
D major, minor, and then I'll, go to B flat, just play over just the one chord. Um, I'll just work up licks, over one chord, and I'll play in C, I'll play in, D, F, in any key, like that I can think of. But, then I start to then I'll spend a lot of time trying to play in C sharp, and,
Yeah.
B. I'll just play in that key, and then I'll play in, you know, I'll play like B7 or B major 7, and then play B minor, and then, yeah, I actually just wrote a tune that I recorded. I recorded in that key, the
Oh
B
yeah.
minor on the harp. Ah, oh, I can't remember it right now.
But yeah, it's not
I'll
too bad of a
release the
key.
song
Yeah.
so you can hear it. So I'll just go through all 12 keys in major and minor and just spend time, but I start to play in, C sharp, and it's like that's hard as hell. And I'll just start
Yeah.
working up licks in as many different keys as I can think of. And and I'll spend hours doing that. And of course, the longer you spend doing that, you just start finding all the notes, but I'm just playing, all by ear.
Yeah.
But, I was also, when I started playing harmonica when I was 25, 26 years old, when I got serious about it, I was already pretty far along as, my ears,
Of course.
like
Yeah.
for playing jazz. I was playing jazz all the time, and at that time, and so I was just trying to play what was in my head, trying to just find those notes on the instrument,
Yeah.
and of course, technically, it's how hard it is to do. It gets easier, of course, as you get some chops and you learn how to, do those things. But the overblows and like bending the overblows, which I didn't even really know existed until till Todd Parrott told me about him at the spa in 2011. He told me
Yeah.
about it, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're kidding me! You mean you can bend them?" I mean, it was just that wasn't that long ago, and I'd already, been playing for overblows for a long time,
Yeah.
and so that was just really opened my mind, And Todd's just an amazing player. I just love his playing, and so he showed me some stuff that and I'm still working on, doing that, like in blues. that 5 or 7 hole one is tough.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
work
yeah,
on
that's a
that.
way of sounding bluesy in that upper octave, then, right?
Yeah, and then and also, I am very much, I use the upper octave, all the time. Yeah, let me see. I can just play. I'll play a blues, in the up, stay up high. You know,
Nice,
but
yeah.
I, I think the harmonica, you know, it sounds really great if you use the entire instrument, right? And try to get. To me, I think it's really great to get as fluent as you can in all 3 octaves. So I spend time all on the entire instrument. But then also, if you start, let's say you want to learn more about jazz on the harmonica, it's good to find a great bebop player, like somebody like Sonny Stitt or Sonny
Yeah.
Rollins, or Clifford Brown, Lee Morgan. These are all horn players, Wynton Kelly, piano player. There's so many of them. Joe Pass, the guitar player. All these guys. There's millions of recordings of them. Or let's say even just say Sonny Stitt, the first guy I mentioned. There's got to be, I don't know, 100 recordings of him just playing, like different recordings of him playing the blues, like different tunes.
Yeah.
And from
Yeah, that was
listening to
also
them,
one of
I
the
can.
first guys that my teacher at music school told me to transcribe.
Yeah. So did you learn some of his stuff, even
Yeah, I
lifting
played
some
some Sonny
ideas from
Stitt
there?
solos on harmonica, yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well, then you can learn so much, right, from listening to him, because the vocabulary is bebop and it's beautiful, and there's so many recordings of him, and you can just slow it down to half speed and just try to learn it. But those listening to those lines, they're going to take you up into different octaves, and
Yeah.
you got to figure out a way to get a nice tone in all 3 octaves. When I've taught people harmonica, that's not. I don't teach that often. I like to teach, but usually a lot of the students who want to come, they want to take a lesson, and they realize they can't blow one note, so we get a 30-minute lesson, and that's about it. But when I
Yeah.
get to teach a class or something, I usually teach the students to, like, when they play in that upper octave, don't blow as hard. And as a matter of fact, on the entire instrument, it doesn't take much air, right?
Yeah.
It's like the slightest amount of air. And when you blow softer, you get a better tone. This is my
Yeah, I think
philosophy.
every instrument has its own, like, for like warmth or whatever, like it has it's, I don't know, perfect volume to play it at, sort of, to get the biggest tone, sort of. I mean, if you
That's right.
just hammer
It has a
on the drums, you don't get the best sound in the end on the recording.
That's right. So all instruments have a threshold that
Yeah.
way. So where if you blow too hard or you hit too hard, they'll just fart out on you, and you're not getting the best tone. But the harmonica is definitely like that. And harmonica is a very very loud instrument, right? I think that tiny little reed, I could be standing, at the top of a mountain and somebody a quarter of a mile away, on a super quiet night could hear it clear as a bell on the other mountain.
I mean,
Because that little
considering the
reed,
size of the instrument, it's
that's
crazy.
right.
Yeah.
People think because it's small that it's, and that it's not, it carries. So it's like, well, you can play it soft and people are going to hear you. But anyway, I went on a tangent there, but so yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
quite
I
a
guess
few
I answered
questions in the
that.
chat we should dive
Yeah,
into.
go ahead. Sure. Yeah, glad to.
Andre says, I wish I knew some people who play in B sharp where the root note is 3-hole overblow.
3-hole
What do you think
overblow?
about that?
Well, that would make this. Well, that's if you're got. I have a C harmonica here. If I overblow the third hole, you get a C.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have it set up, but you get a.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most people don't have it set up. But yeah, that's useful.
Yeah.
That's like whatever.
Yeah.
Alternate
but yeah,
fingering
but
on the
B
saxophone.
sharp. B sharp with the oh. That's a funny question. Yeah, I don't tell him I can't answer that one.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you
Obviously,
could-
that was a joke. But yeah,
Okay, there you go.
it can be nice, like the way you just made use of it.
You can use it, and I use the second hole overblow all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you can. Let's see. Instead of going blow 3, bend 3, and then blow 3, minor third bend, and then whole step bend on the third hole.
Yeah.
I'm going draw 2, overblow 2, and then whole step bend 3. You know.
Right.
you know, that's like, overblow 2, which is very useful. In the key of F, it's great too. Like if you're, I am, um, um. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more
Right,
comfy in
that's-
terms of like the breathing pattern, sort of.
Yeah, but it makes it sounds more like you're using a chromatic. It's not like
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean that works too. I just got used to using it, but it's useful. It's very useful.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, you can use every single note you can find. Use all of them. They're all there. And if you can play them, use them.
Yeah. Crossbones Alex asks, I was wondering if you both have perfect pitch. I don't.
Yeah, I don't have perfect pitch, but it drives me crazy when things are out of tune. I mean, to a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
degree. I mean, if something's really out of tune, it does. I don't know. I think when you're playing for so many years, you get so used to hearing. I mean, even before auto tune, I still would. I like to hear things. Pretty fair. I mean, nothing's. You listen to an orchestra. It's not perfectly in tune. It's gotta. There's certain things about things that aren't perfectly in tune that are really beautiful. It's not that it's got to be that way, but I do hear things, when it's like when on harmonicas, when notes go out of tune, I can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I can play it, and I do, like in the car, if I'll play it. But after a while, it's like you start getting used to hearing it that way, and it's not so good, you know. So yeah.
Andre asks how to make those passages on harmonica sound smooth.
Well, you know what? I think the way you make it sound smooth is you breathe very easily and softly. First of all, how you breathe is really a lot of it, and also that's part of it. But also practicing it. You know, anytime you learn a new lick, just play it over and over and over and over and over until you own it. Right? Not so you just remember it or can play it, but you play it until you own it, until you get to the point where you start incorporating it into your playing. And even if it's something easy, you know, like I mean, I just played something off the top of my head, just a riff, but you know, play it with, you know, tapping your foot, making it swing. You know, if you're playing in you know, some kind of groove. You know, play it with a groove, you know, like in some type of rhythmic fashion, you know, when you're practicing, you know. Of course, when you first start practicing something, you want to just get the notes under in your vocabulary there and be able to play it. But, you know, always play it in some kind of musical context. You know, play it along with your, you know, your drum machine or your metronome. You know, always play when you're practicing music. Depending on what it is you're practicing, you know, whatever it is, but always try to play it with a metronome, or always practice it, you know, in a rhythmic context, you know, with a metronome, or, you know, against some kind of groove and beat, and feel yourself be in the pocket. And what's going to end up being in the pocket is your breathing in and out. It's your diaphragm. Your diaphragm actually becomes like a shaker, you know. You know, like Howard's book that we were talking about, his book that he put out, which is a great book. I recommend it. You know, that, you know, he's talking about breathing and rhythm, you know, and he says when he's working up these licks that, you know, he's like, it's like this dance that you're doing with your diaphragm in and out. So making it smooth really is just you know, just is all that. Or even just say, even if you're just playing the harmonica, and say you're not a guy who plays overblows, but you're good at bending, you know, you've got a hell of a lot of notes that you can play, you know, with just the bends, right? And so, you know, practice playing, you know. You know, just practice going up and down, you know, or take a little different, you know, little like sections just of 2 or 3 holes and do that up and down. Like make up, because there's so many things that you can work on any musical instrument. Create little exercises for yourself. You have to make up your own little things, you know, to create little exercises, you know. I mean, you can be so musical on the harmonica and with just, you know, 4 notes, right? There's so much you can do with just 4 notes. Right? Yeah, I mean, you know, like you. You know, there's so much inflection that you can do, you know, with just, you know, 1 note, right? There's just so much you can do.
Yeah.
And it's all right, which all shaped by the inside of your of your mouth and what your tongue is doing, and it takes time. You'll get it. You just have to play it a lot, play it every day, play it in your car, and don't drive off the road.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But I actually drive better when I play harmonica, and that's the truth. I'm less distracted. It's true. I really
Yeah.
am. I mean, I'm just my mind is on what I'm doing, and I'm never had a problem.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. So practice at home. Like I said, use your metronome and your drum machine and all that stuff.
Yeah. There's so many questions in the chat. I got
Yeah,
one
go
though
ahead.
too,
Go ahead.
like just
Yeah, go ahead.
something that's coming from my own experience, like teaching and giving like online courses and stuff. Like, I mean, so many people out there rely on visual representation while practicing their bands, and I tell them, don't do that. You should rather use your ears and some reference note and stuff like that, Like, how do you feel about that? Like, practice
Visual?
bandings with visual representation, is that good? Like with a tuner?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never done that. No, I've never done that. I think, yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. I've never done that, but I could see where that would be a really great thing. I can see where that would be great. Like with Howard plays piano and get harmonica at the same time. I mean, that's got to help immensely. And I've actually sat down at the piano and done that a little bit, just tried to play like, figure out where the notes are and what sounds in tune,
Yeah.
But for me now, it's all with my ear. It's all ears because I can hear it. I can hear if it's out of tune.
Yeah.
If like if you bend a fourth whole draw, right? If I bend it all the way down, it's going to be flat, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be flat. It's actually not, you kind of have to adjust your tongue so slightly to where you don't bend it quite that far for it to be in tune as a flat fifth if you're playing a cross harp.
But yeah, that's it. There's Andre in the chat, and he's like, you can't play concerts with a tuner,
Well, that's right. No, you can't. You can't. Well, you can. You can. I know a bass player who used to play with a tuner, had a tuner on the floor, and he would watch it to make sure he was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tight
and
up
I'm
right
also
there,
like, I mean, playing harmonica in a live context. I mean, so many people in the audience like still tell me and told many other harmonica players, and you probably too. We can't even see your instrument, like. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's like entertaining at all, or like, I mean, maybe it works for some online videos just to have the visual representation on there of the instrument and see what's happening, whatever. I was like thinking of like having a harmonica that has like lights built into the comb, and you got like different colors light up, playing different notes or whatever,
You know what? I think that's a freaking great idea.
and then have that on an LED wall behind yourself or something.
It would be amazing. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, it'd be a great idea. If somebody could invent that, like I'm seeing all these like the Harp Ninja app, and I know Rolly Platt has just come up with some thing that's a tab thing, and I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm really interested in seeing what he's doing with it. That whole thing about being able to play in real time and see something light up.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're seeing in your brain. Harmonica players are seeing that in their brain, right? Everybody's got that visual picture of what it looks like,
Right.
when you're playing and when it's a bent note and when it's an overblow and all that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of like three-dimensional sort of, picture. And if somebody can represent that in a visual way for somebody to be able to see in real time when you're playing, boy, that is the coolest thing ever. Because
I mean, if you
notating
can put it
with
on an
arrows-
LED wall behind yourself playing
Yes,
concerts, that's the
exactly.
thing,
Yes, that would be amazing. Like to have it on a screen,
Yeah.
or something. That would be amazing. Yeah, it would be very, very cool. And But yeah, that'd be great. It'd be great for teaching too, you know. So yeah, I mean, I want to do an instruction video, just do like a a whole thing where I kind of go through, and I'm going to do it at some point where I just go through like, okay, start here and just get more and more in advanced and just be able to teach everybody that the play the way that I play and just talk about it. And but yeah, so is there any other questions that you want to?
There's a lot of questions in the chat, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask
Do you
another.
have a particular key of harmonica that you prefer to use? Like, if you were going to go to a jam session and only could take one harp, which key would you take?
If it was a jazz gig, I would bring a B flat.
Yeah.
I bring a B flat if it's a jazz gig, and probably I would probably bring if I had just bring one, it would be a B flat, but I'd probably bring a a B flat and an A flat and a C if I was going to a jazz gig.
That's good, yeah.
A G harp is always handy too, but I mean those three would be great. And if it was like if I'm going to go play with some band that's going to be rocking, I'll of course bring the A and the G and the D and the C and but a C harp. I can do a lot on a C harp. I can play in a lot of different keys, but of course you can only do cross harp one way, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
you can try to figure out, ways to kind of imitate it on the other keys. In certain places you can do certain things,
Yeah, I remember
that
going
you
to
can
a
do.
jam session in New York in, I don't know how many years ago. And I only had the C harmonica with me, and we were about to leave, and that was like my last chance to kind of like join on stage. But they were playing in the key of B minor,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well,
But I
there
mean,
you go.
that was fine. It wasn't too bad. Like, they still loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've got a few notes that you can hang out on in
Yeah.
B minor. You do. It's
And you can sound really bluesy, and yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. You
Um,
got you know. Yeah. There's an overblow, right? You've got
Yeah.
some things that are there, without the overblows. But yeah, go ahead. Ask another question. If you
Yeah, there's Babak in the chat, fantastic player from Iran. I'm curious about your practice routine. Do you usually start with a warm-up? If you do, what do you play for warm-up?
Um,
Do you warm up at
I
all? Like, that's something I'm
no, I
interested in
don't.
too.
Yeah, no, I don't warm up. No,
Yeah,
I
me
just,
neither.
I don't. No, I just, like I was saying like earlier, my practice routine is usually just, playing. What I do is I'll pick a tune, and I'll just play it in my head, like if I want to do, you know, and then I'll practice soloing over it.
Yeah.
That was Shadow of Your Smile or some whatever standard tune, jazz tune I'm working on. I'll just play through that in my head, and then I'll just practice soloing on it and hearing lines and like coming up with different things that I can play over it. And of course, further away I get from the easier keys, the harder it becomes. And then I have to slowly like, okay, what's a 2-5-1 that I can play over this, if I'm playing an F sharp on a C harmonica, which is super hard, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
as far away as you can get. So on that key, I'm still working on. I'm not, I can play, a slow blues in that key, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, mm. I'm still finding my way around in that key. But I'm gonna get there. I always love playing and playing a harmonica. So you just figure it out as you go, and you you just keep working at it until you find it. But
Yeah.
as far as practice routine or warm up, I don't really do any kind of exercises or anything like that to warm up. But
Yeah.
you can always play the chromatic scale, and just do that, on your harmonica and make sure that all the notes are working and make sure you don't have any saltines in your harmonica or any Jolly Ranchers in there or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's different for like classical musicians. I mean, last week I played some film music concerts with an orchestra, and then like everybody's just playing their instruments before the show, and it's like, I hate that.
Yeah. Well, if you know the tune, yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, if you
I think
have
I
to,
never
if you
really
have,
like. I'm also playing classical in concerts, also opening up the
yeah,
show with Bach or whatever, but I'm never warming up. Like maybe one time I played the Howard Levy concerto with an orchestra, and I remember warming up before that, but only by grabbing like a G harmonica and doing some chugging, just to like warm up my tongue, sort of articulating.
right.
But that's it.
And that's amazing. That's amazing. I saw a little bit of video of you playing that, a little bit of it, and I'm just amazed that you did that. It's just incredible, and it's
I
so
mean, it
great. You
should be
sound
played
so good, man.
way more often.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a
You
beautiful
sound so
composition.
great. Yeah, it is amazing. I saw Howard do it with the Nashville Chamber Orchestra in Nashville, God, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was just incredible. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, we've got him as the benchmark to try to like keep up with. I mean, we'll never catch up. No, I don't think anybody will. He's so good. And but yeah, I mean, he's paved the way for people like us, right? Who are doing it, playing the diatonic and wanting to play it like a chromatic. Well,
Yeah.
it is no longer a diatonic, right? It's a
Yeah.
chromatic, right? So yeah. But anyway, yeah, any other questions?
Here, Spinner says, Pat is great. First heard you in person in Columbus, Ohio years ago when you played the harp with guitar. Great. Tommy Emmanuel on song House of the Rising Sun. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Crossbones Alex. Is it possible to overblow holds 1, 2, and 3 cleanly on an out of the box harmonica?
I would say yes. Yeah, you probably can, but it just depends on how it's set up when it comes out of the box. I mean, yeah, you can do it. I mean, for me, I'm not a good person to ask. I mean, for me, I use the one hole overblow all the time, but I can't. It's really still hard for me to
No.
hold that note. I use it as a passing note.
Yeah, it's like hard to hold it for a longer time.
I'll use it, but to hold it like,
Yeah.
I
And it's
think
also better
I
to coming or like moving into it coming from the one hole draw instead of the one hole blow, obviously. Like
yes, right. It's like that definitely, and I'm and I play the side L's with the stainless reeds, and I like them. They stay in tune and all that, and I really love the sound of them. I play Hohners too, but these are the ones that I
oh yeah,
really
what kind of
play
model
mostly.
like do you prefer?
I use I'm using the side L 1847 with and I use what are these, the Blues Favorite Session Steel covers, the
Oh yeah,
ones that
okay.
different covers on. But these are what I play, and all I do is gap them, and I will put Scotch tape on them to get the squeals out, too. But that's about all I do,
Right.
but I'm really at the point now where I need to find somebody. If anybody out there knows somebody who customizes these, I have this is one that Bertram not Bertram from Seidel, but Bertram recommended Ben Bowman, and he did this one
Okay.
years ago. And I This one's tuned at 440. It's a CN 440. I don't know. I can't remember why I did that. It's not necessarily like better or anything. I just wanted to try it. But it's a great harmonica. But I messaged him, and I haven't heard back from Ben Bowman. I'd love to get some more customized ones set up for overblows. I can do it myself, and the ones that I play, I play them all the time. The ones that I do on my own, but I would like to find somebody to customize a stainless one of these harmonicas.
You got to ask Joel Anderson, I guess.
Who? You know somebody?
Guess you got to ask Joel Anderson now. Yeah. He was an exclusive Hohner affiliated customizer, but now he's like also working on Seidel and Suzuki and stuff.
Oh, really? What will you send me his name in an email or something after we're done?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to get his info. Yeah. So and Greg Jones at Seidel also made a D harp for me. That's great too, and he can do it also. But yeah. So I'm doing that. But out of the box, overblowing harmonicas out of the box. It's so easy to learn how to gap your harmonicas. There's no reason to try and overblow them out of the box. Just learn how to gap. It's the simplest thing in the world to learn how to do. So that'd be my recommendation.
Oh yeah, Jerry also says sixth position is really good on a country tuned harp. Yeah.
What is sixth position? What
Playing
key is
in B.
that on a C harp?
Yeah.
B on a C harp?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go, Jerry. Yeah. Hey Jerry, we got to talk soon. We got to catch up, man. Yeah, that's right. That'd be an excellent choice right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and also sixth position is good on, what is the key where you play, or the position where you play two-hole blow, minor?
Yeah, that's fifth.
That's you get that one 5-hole, but you don't have to overblow.
Oh yeah, exactly. That would be good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I'm just like always bending up the 5-hole overblow,
Yeah, right. Well, there's a lot of keys where that would be handy. Yeah. Any other?
That's really
questions?
good. But like, did you ever try like some other tunings?
Yes, I love the Charlie McCoy tuning.
Okay.
I absolutely, I've got about 7 keys, that I use on sessions, sometimes where it's just, you just want that, to have that 5 chord and be able to, it's such a great tune.
Yeah.
Right. It's really so handy. I definitely use it, but I don't, I just play, overblow the 5th hole, but it doesn't sound the same.
I mean, on recordings, and especially if it's like country-esque, it makes sense to. You want to stick to that second position color and then like have that note naturally available.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think doing stuff like that, I don't have like a country tuned harp, but then I use like one of the diatonics with the slide,
Oh, you the one that
for recording.
What harmonica is that? Ross
Different
Guerin
names,
gave me
yeah.
one. Ross Guerin gave me one that's got it's an overblow harmonica where you can overblow with a slide, and it's cool. It's very cool harmonica. He gave me one of those, and I've been messing around with that.
Can be useful in the studio, yeah.
Right, sure, absolutely, yeah. And it's and in the studio you want to be in tune, right? I mean, people now, you can just put your harmonica in Melodyne and tune it, with a plug-in. But it's nice to have your harmonicas be in tune.
Yeah, playing with orchestras, like that's why. I just got one of these just to teach one of my students who like never really got into bendings and stuff. And then playing with an orchestra, I noticed some of my harmonicas. I was playing like Moon River or something. It was just about the melody and playing it in first position, and like my 7-hole draw was like just way too low. Of course, like because it was like a compromised tuning that I had going on my instruments.
Yeah.
And I had to find like some alternative on side, so I picked one of those and played the whole thing in 12th position or something.
Yeah.
Just to be in tune
Okay.
and equal temperament tunes, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I use mostly are equal temperament.
Yeah, I just
I have
recently
Seidel.
started to
Yeah.
retune all my instruments to equal temperament. Yeah,
Yeah, I do. That has Seidel tunes. I have mine. Most of my harps are to equal temperament. I don't find I have a whole lot of problems. Like if it's a tune that has chords, on a recording or something, I'll want to use the compromise tuning. But
yeah.
but for playing on gigs and stuff, I use the equal temperament harps. They work great. They sound more in tune to me, especially if you start going out playing in different keys. Yeah.
Like, what do you think is like playing jazz on the diatonic? What's like the biggest challenge? Like, is it intonation or is it tone or phrasing or key choice?
Yes.
All of the above.
Just kidding. No. Yes. Um, the challenge, the biggest challenges come when you're modulating to keys that are harder to play, or territories, on the instrument where you may not be as polished up, there's a huge list of what are called easy standards on the harmonica for jazz.
Yeah.
There's no greater love, all of me. Blues. There's tons of tunes where it just stays in one key basically. Even like Stardust or the nearness of you. Ballads. There's tons of ballads where that it just stays pretty much in one key.
Yeah.
My one and only love. They're pretty much they stay around one key. It might be in the key of C, but it'll go to A minor, or it'll go to D minor, or it'll go to E minor. But those are you're still in the key. You're using secondary dominant chords to get to your other keys. You're not venturing out. But if you got body and soul and the bridge goes up a half step, or
Yeah.
you've got even there's tons of standard tunes where, let's say, if it's it goes to the 3 major chord. If you're in B flat and it goes to D, okay, that's a challenge.
Yeah. I usually
So
try to pick
it's so
harmonica
those are
where
the
the B section is stronger than, and I rather like struggle in the A section.
yeah, right, yeah, sure, yeah, but you may want to struggle in the A section, but that's where you really want to spend a lot of time. It's just when you're working on a song, if it's going to go to a key that's harder, then you have to spend that time going to that key and practice getting in and out of those
Yeah.
keys. That's a challenge, but you can, with the easier standards, it's a lot easier. Like if I'm playing All of Me in the key of C, it starts in C and then it quickly goes to A minor. If you want to think of it that way, it goes to an E7 and then it goes to A minor. Okay, so A minor is like, that's all over there, right on the C harmonica, and then
No.
you know, and then D minor, it goes to D minor. These little places where it switches keys, if you want to say, but it's not really switching keys. It's just kind of cycling through, secondary dominance through chords that are in the key. I don't know if that sounds too like complicated, but there are easy standards and there are harder ones. So, and then of course, like he said, intonation too is, you got to make your stuff sound in tune too. Like when you're going to the harder keys, you know, if you're playing, in C and it goes to A, right? That fourth whole bend is now the third of
Yeah.
the A chord. If you bend it too far, it's gonna sound flat. Or if you don't, and if you have to lay on it, no, you gotta try to get your vibrato if you're using vibrato to make it in tune, and that's all like, yeah, it's like playing a slide guitar.
Yeah.
Like where you're just okay, you got to have your finger just in the right spot. It's very much like that to me when I hear harmonica. And when I'm playing, I'm really like, I think the harmonica, diatonic sounds when you're playing jazz on a diatonic, it sounds more like a fiddle to me than anything, a violin. Because you can get it to sound really legato and smooth the way you make the lines move, but you can also still be very swinging with it, But it really to me feels like the way a violin, somebody who's very good at playing jazz on the violin, like would,
Yeah.
articulate. So that's what I hear a lot, when I hear harmonica played that way on diatonic.
And do you have like any relationship to the chromatic harmonica?
Yes, I do. And I do play chromatic, but mostly I use it on sessions. I don't
Oh yeah.
take it out on live gigs, rarely do I take it out on live gigs and play it. I'm only good in a few keys on chromatic,
Yeah.
meaning that
Same.
like, yeah, right. I can play, cross harp, or like say if I can't remember the positions. The second position I know is cross harp, and forgive me for that. I need to learn this harmonica lingo. I think in keys. So if I
Yeah.
have a C harp playing an F, I'm okay with that on a chromatic, or B flat on a C, or G on a C, or C, D maybe, and then it starts getting further away.
Yeah,
I
and then like
just,
the flat keys. I mean, A flat is good, E
yeah,
flat is good.
yeah, just some of those, they just, right. I mean, I'm sure way further along on that than
But
I
yeah,
am,
then
but,
playing in
yeah,
E
that's,
major and B major is probably the hardest on the
yeah,
on the chromatic.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. But, yeah, so I do play it, but mostly when I record with it, I play, use it on recording sessions, like sometimes and of course I use it, on sessions too, because I like the sound of the chromatic, the tone is just
Yeah,
so great, it's a whole different thing.
and like talking about the harmonica, like the diatonic. Like, what do you think the diatonic harmonica still has to prove in the wider music world?
Uh, I don't know. I think Howard Levy's proved it all, in my opinion,
Nice,
you
yeah.
know, and guys like him and yourself, and a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys, I don't think there's no replacing that instrument. You can't replicate it on a keyboard, not to my ears. You kind of can, you know,
Yeah,
I'm,
that's true. There's not
melodic.
a VST plugin out there that sounds good for diatonic harmonica.
No, I haven't heard one yet. Maybe there is, melodica
Also,
can sound like a
AI can't
harmonica.
do harmonica yet.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. I don't think IA can do anything good yet. I mean, AI.
yeah. I mean,
That's
guitar
my
sounds
opinion.
way more realistic than harmonica
Yeah, yeah.
on AI. But maybe that's just because the AI doesn't have enough recordings and information to it got fed from, sort of.
Or it doesn't have any soul or humanity either. It's missing that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Is there any other questions? Anybody have any other
Oh, in
questions
the
that?
chat, I guess so.
Yeah. Anybody have any from the chat that I can answer
Oh,
and
there's
I can
also
answer?
Boris Plotnikov. Hi guys, for years I was a fan of the compromise tuning. Since I moved to JDR, I got lazy to retune them, and suddenly I started loving equal tuning more and more. When I get my old compromise harmonica, I hear some notes are a bit low.
Yeah, yeah. I know Boris is playing. I've heard him play. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Um, yes, if you're playing, for me, if you're playing jazz and you're playing just single note stuff like I like to play, it depends on how you play though.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, if I'm playing, this C I've been playing is the compromised. I got a B flat here that I've been playing this every day for at least 10 years, and an octave's still pretty much below in tune on this Seidel. Um, this is one I think Bertram Becker might have set up for me at Seidel years ago. And it's my favorite one, and I lost it for like 2 months, and I found it like a week ago, and it was the happiest day of my life.
Yeah.
I was really bummed when I lost it, and it showed up in the weirdest place I couldn't even believe. Like, how the hell did it get there? It was underneath a rug that we were moving in the living room. I was like, I have no idea how it got there. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes, the equal temperament to me is it just works great. And for me, if I'm playing a blues, like say here's an A harp, right? I'm just tongue blocking kind of thing there on
Yeah.
that. And to me, I'm not hearing that as like compromised is better. I really think it's when you're getting into. I mean, that chord doesn't sound
Yeah.
right. I'm blowing the fifths, with the sideways, block, tongue block there. They sound pretty in tune to me, but it's, it just depends, I think, I guess, Hohner, like, say, marine bands, they tune those to compromised, right? Is
Yeah.
that compromised? And they sound really in tune to me. When I hear guys play, marine bands playing blues with those,
Yeah.
with that harp. And I have some too, and sometimes I'll use it on a session.
Yeah, and also
I'm
it's
like,
true. Like you sort of can't replicate the sound of a marine band. Like I noticed where at a harmonica competition, was that at the World Harmonica Festival last year, I guess. There was some Asian guy playing like Little Walter transcription on a regular marine band, and he just had the perfect sound for it. Like I think you can't
yeah,
get
they're
that
great.
perfectly right on, I don't know, an aluminium harmonica.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've used them, on recordings, and I'm playing it, and I'm thinking, God, this thing sounds so in tune, and it's just I love the sound of them,
Yeah.
you know. But I've got to where I can't really do wooden combs anymore. I really like,
Oh, okay.
I like special 20s, and that's why I like the Seidels, different Seidel harps, and but I really like, for me, if I'm buying a Hohner, I buy special 20s, and I have special 20s too, and I've got a bunch of old golden melodies
Yeah.
that are like low tuned ones that I've had forever, and I use those every once in a while too. But I used to play just those, all the time, but yeah.
Coming back to your thought of like how it proved everything, I just got an additional question on that, sort of for the harmonica in the classical word, sort of. I feel like similar instruments like accordion or bandoneon, they are kind of respected in the classical music scene. Like, what does it take for the harmonica to get up to this level, sort of? Is it repertoire or...
Well, I think well, Howard was the first one to write a concerto for the diatonic harmonica, right?
Yeah.
So, you've performed it, Howard's performed it. I don't know, has anybody else
Federico
performed that?
Linari from Argentina, he performed it last
he's
year.
great. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, well, there you go. It's like, I think, in the, classical world, as far as like there's one concerto, as far as we know, right? That's, written for diatonic harmonica and full orchestra.
Yeah.
So, I think if people, more people start writing concertos and performing it, it's really just how many people are going to step up to the plate and write something for full orchestra and perform it and, put it into that context. Harmonica is like for rock and roll and blues. I mean, it's been done a million times, and like,
Yeah.
it's it's a very necessary instrument, right? As far as we're concerned, in rock and roll and blues, and and in jazz, Like Howard Levy was like the guy who took it to the highest level, and at this point it's amazing what he's done. And there's guys like you and myself, and there's a lot of, guys playing harmonica, jazz harmonica, Sandy Weltman and Jason Rosenblatt, and, lots of guys and tons of guys I'm still hearing all the time who were fantastic. And so because of, Howard, paving the way for that, like a lot of guys are doing it now, and it's really great, and they all have their own style and their own sound, and it's so exciting. And so, jazz is now, it's a whole different world than it was 30 years ago,
Yeah.
now, because there's tons of guys
That's
doing
true.
it now, and guys recording it, and all that. And so I think, yeah, I mean, bluegrass harmonica, Buddy Green and guys like that. There's tons of guys, and Todd Parrott, and there's tons of, great country guys. I mean, harmonica is, as far as its growth, and how much further it needs to go, out into the world of music, it's everywhere right now. It is. I mean, what style of music has it not touched, really? I mean, I'm sure there's, it's 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 in so many different types of music. I mean, I would really like to see. It would be cool to see like more harmonica bands start.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the harmonica bands. Like the harmonica cats and all the other great harmonica bands. That was a thing back in the 1930s, I guess, or
Yeah, like a
2030s,
month
whenever
ago,
it
I got
started.
like
Yeah.
a chord harmonica for a gig to play some accompaniment
Yeah.
for a singer, and I had to
Oh,
practice
cool.
and like getting used to the distances and stuff.
That's cool. I bet that was fun, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but like at the same time, it's kind of, I mean, frustrating is a little too much, but I mean, you also always got the chords in their root position on there.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then like
Uh-huh.
the C chord, or like, no matter, doesn't matter if it's like C or minor, it's like the lowest chord, and like the B chord is the highest one.
Oh,
And that's kind of
right.
that's not satisfying.
No, it's yeah, right. Right. It's like you're going like this on the piano.
Exactly, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's what
Wow.
I don't like.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, I'm not sure, like I never got one, but I believe you're a little more flexible in terms of inversions and stuff like that on the Hohner Harmonetta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't played one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah. Yeah, but that would be some place where, it'd be cool to have more bands, harmonica bands.
Yeah, true.
I guess I need to start one. Yeah.
I got like one more
Yeah. Yeah.
question regarding
Yeah, go ahead.
um session work, I guess. Like, what is the difference between being impressive and being hireable?
Uh, well, I guess I'm not sure I totally understand your question. What's the difference between being
Like
impressive or
playing impressively and like whatever, like being really good on your instrument, and yeah, in comparison to being hireable.
well, uh, yeah, I mean, if somebody hears you play, like let's say somebody came to to a gig and I'm playing jazz on the harmonica,
Yeah,
they might think that I can't do anything else, right? They might think that I can't play
that's
blues or I
true.
can't play
Yeah,
country music. But, I think, for me in this, for me, I have, been in Nashville for 30 some years, so everybody knows what I can do. So, and, I have friends who, I have this whole community of harmonica playing friends that live here. And so we kind of all, recommend each other for things that we can't do, and we all admire each other and respect each other. And so everybody kind of knows what everybody can do,
yeah,
and also once you start getting established, in a certain place, doing session work, people start to hear what you can do, and usually I will say 90% of the time what I do, on session work is very simple. It's all like very simple parts, and Nashville is it's a singer's town. There's all kinds of session work, of course, but it's if you're going to do, you're playing with songwriters and country artists, and singers, and so it ain't about you. It's about the singer. If you get a solo, you can be flashy, if they ask you to.
Yeah.
If they ask you to, to step out, but my inclination right off the bat is to play something that has to do with the song. Play a melody that has to do with the song, or like, stay within the vibe of the song and within the feel of the song, and, play something pretty, and, play parts behind the vocal that support the vocal, and, try not to make yourself stand out too much, because
Yeah.
they don't want you to stand out too much because they're listening to the singer. And if say it's some famous country artist hires you to play on their record, they don't want to hear you like blowing all over their song, right? It's this about them, and they want you to kind of just the, taste of, some nice harmonica with a nice tone, in tune,
Yeah.
tasteful and all that kind of stuff. And, Jelly Roll Johnson, who's here in Nashville, he's a master at that. He is a master. I've learned so much just from listening to him play behind a singer. I mean, he's got a beautiful vibrato. It's incredible vibrato. I still don't know how he does it. I can't do it like he does. But he plays just perfectly behind a singer. And that's why he gets hired.
Yeah.
So really, that's what it is. Being impressive. I can play impressive on my jazz gigs, but playing, to me, I don't think of it that way on a jazz gig. I still try to play something that's very melodic. I try to do stuff that I want to connect with an audience when I play. I want, to be able to like reach people with what I do, like make them feel something, or, not just go wow. I mean, you can go wow like for like a couple of songs, and then people want to like, okay, I've had enough wow. Now play something pretty,
Yeah.
play something that I can digest. Because people can't, they can only too many fast notes all the time. They can't digest it, even though I love to play fast notes all the time. But I still try. I don't try not to do that. You got to phrase and leave breaks between your phrases and all that kind of stuff when you're playing. So I hope that answers your question. That's
Yeah.
the way I see it. So,
Of course. Crossbones Alex asks, this is like the last question, I guess. When will you get out another harp-dominated album, Pat?
oh yeah, well tell them I'm actually working on one. I
Okay.
am working on one. I have some bunch of tracks recorded that I just need to finish. I'm working on it. I get so busy, here working on with other people. I've been a sideman for so long, and I love that. I love what I do. But I get to the point where I get, between, taking care of our property here and mowing the property, and which is not an excuse by any means, but between all the other responsibilities, and then doing people's sessions and their records and touring with people, I end up like, I got started to get going pretty good in 2019, and now those songs are just sitting there. And
Yeah.
I just need to put them out, but I want to finish the whole record. So I'm getting there slowly, and actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be working on some of it here in the next couple weeks. So I will do it. I will do it. And I've got one project that I started that it's going to be so fun. I went in the studio with a drummer, piano player, and upright bass player, and myself, and we did some boogie woogie stuff that is so slamming. It's going to be really good. I think the harmonica players will like it. It's like, we just wrote some tunes, and there's a couple of ones that are not originals, but so I'm gonna put that out too. So I'm getting there. But thanks for requesting it, because
Nice, yeah.
I'll get done.
Yeah, so how can people stay updated? I mean, I put some of your links into the description box, like your website and social media. Like where are you most active?
Well, you know what? That's another thing that I need to finish up doing is working on my YouTube channel, and I've got to get a new website and everything. I've got a whole lot of stuff I need to get straightened out, and that's all in the works too. I'm teaching at guitar camps. I'm teaching at the Rocky Mountain Guitar Camps this summer. I'm teaching at the Pete Huttlinger Guitar and Fly Fishing Camp. That's in August, and I'm teaching at the Martin Taylor Guitar Retreat also in August. And those are guitar camps. I play a lot of harmonica there, but I've been out touring with Peter Frampton. If you just look up any of the shows from 24 and 25 live shows, you'll see me playing with Peter Frampton. And there's some videos of me where I'm featured on harmonica. He features me on the harmonica on one song where I get a big long solo, but stuff like that. And with Tommy Emmanuel, playing with him on shows, and I was with them, and I was touring with Susie Boggess for years, and there's videos of me playing harmonica with her, and I'm on a lot of her records, and
Yeah.
But as far as like stuff that I really did a lot of harmonica on, would probably be stuff I did with Tommy, this videos of me playing with him, and I play at Rudy's Jazz Room in Nashville a lot, and I play harmonica when I'm down there. And, but really, like, you're going to find the most by, like, just finding me on Facebook, following my Facebook page. I have a musician page, and I don't post to it as often as I do my regular Facebook page. I'm kind of maxed out on my friends, I think, but you can still follow me, I think, on what I do on my regular Facebook page. I put everything I'm on Instagram, but I put, on my regular Facebook page, I post all my gigs, and I'll post videos that come up and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. 2 more questions. I don't want to leave without answering these. Spinner One asks, like you, I'm a big fan of Chet Atkins and have been trying to master fingerpicking Mr. Sandman for years. Could you talk about your work with Chet and what is the toughest Atkins song you learned?
Oh, yeah. Well, I worked with Chet for about 7 years, and from 92 till 98, 99, somewhere around there. And I played on 3 records with him. I did one called Sneaking Around, one called Read My Licks, and one called Something Up My Sleeve with Susie Boggess and Chet Atkins. And you can hear my guitar playing on those records. And but I really loved working with Chet, and he was very good to me and brought me to Nashville, and he was, my mentor, and like just everything about him was great, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. He was a great person. And Mr. Sandman I find every song that he's played was hard for me.
Yeah.
I did a record called I did 2 records, one called Hippie Dance and one called Country Gentleman, a tribute to Chet Atkins, and I played all these tunes that Chet played and ones that he produced. Some songs that he produced, and I did my own version of his stuff. But I found that pretty much every song that I played was a super big challenge for me. And a lot of those songs, I just learned to make the record. I was approached by a record label to make that record, so I just had to learn these tunes, and I played them. But I would say Mr. Sandman that's one that takes a lot of practice. Pretty much all of them. But I mean, it's of the ones that I know. There's if there's a guitar player named Richard Smith, who's a master at the Chet Atkins style. And if you just look him up online, Richard Smith, playing Chet Atkins style guitar, he's a real close friend of mine, and he's an incredible musician and guitar player. And you can hear him play, there's countless recordings of him playing all kinds of stuff by Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep practicing.
Final question is just, about your all-time favorite song to play on the harmonica.
All-time favorite to play on harmonica? You know, I would say, I would say I like playing. The one I like playing a lot, and there's a lot of recordings of me playing it on, playing on live, is "The Nearness of You." It's one of those easy standards I was telling you.
Oh yeah.
I love playing that, and I love playing the Shadow of Your Smile. These are just ones that I've learned because they're melodies that I like, and they're standards that I like. I'm always, trying to find a new standard to play, but those are great. My One and Only Love is a beautiful melody. My Foolish Heart is a beautiful melody, and I try
Yeah.
to take those tunes and playing them in different keys on the same harmonica, that kind of thing. But The Nearness of You is great because it's just such a beautiful song. It's just such a well-written song. Hoagy Carmichael wrote some beautiful melodies and just some great songs. He wrote Georgia on My Mind, which is another one that's great to play. If you don't know that on the diatonic harmonica, that's a great one to learn. Um,
Yeah. I was excited to hear which position you're gonna pick.
well, that I picked cross harp.
Yeah.
But you got to do a 5-hole overblow. But that's a good candidate for the Charlie McCoy tuning
Yeah. I always
because it
play this
really.
one in 11th position, like B flat on the C harmonica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting lost.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's cool
that's
to
a
have
good.
that major 7th on the 6-hole draw. Like it's
Yeah, there you go. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a good key to play it on. Yeah, that's a good key to play. But cross harp it lies really well. But if you get a country tuned harmonica and learn Georgia on My Mind, on the bridge it goes, you know, you got a fourth hold to
yeah.
bend. Yeah, yeah. That's a good one to learn. That's a
Perfect.
Hoagy Carmichael song. He wrote Stardust. That's another great one to play on harmonica. And I play those in like that one in just first position. I play harmon a lot in first position. First position is just great. It's you know it's it just seems like an obvious choice for a lot of tunes. And you can be very expressive in first position also, and in all
That's true.
keys. You know, yeah, right.
Nice.
Mhm.
I guess that's
Yeah.
it. That was awesome. I think we covered a lot of ground, and there's another Home Life tomorrow, everyone. We're talking to Vincent Boucher. I hope that's the right way of pronouncing his name, sort of. Mixing English and French here. And we got the Dorian Harmonica Challenge going on Sunday. So, yeah, looking forward to your submissions. You can win a Hohner harmonica of your choice, almost. We can work that out all the time. So, it's a really good opportunity. And even if you don't feel confident, it's a spinning wheel that decides on who's going to win. That's a lot of fun. That's going down on Sunday, 6 p.m. German time. And yeah, otherwise, see you tomorrow for the next Hohner Live. This is just an exception that we're doing these on 2 days in a row because I'm playing quite a few concerts. But yeah, Pat, thank you so much for joining us. That was fun.
Thank you very much, Konstantin. It's a real pleasure meeting you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Same here. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
My lady, you know me, no give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward ever, backward never. Then they pray make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know, they never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know, they never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna wait in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. Rara, rara. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know, they never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know,